It's about drive. It's about power.
We stay hungry, we devour. Put in the work, put in the hours, and take what's ours.
Hey y'all, today we are here to review a Black Adam, the newest entry into the new DCEU. I'm not exactly sure what is canon anymore, but what has been rock solid has been Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and his belief in making this film come to fruition, his insistence on this character being the best that it could be, him being in the best shape that he could be. I didn't realize the difference of look between other actors in like padded superhero suits and The Rock until this movie, and like I just want to say bravo, Dwayne, you know what you're doing. I have to give this disclaimer anytime I review one of these movies. I'm a very hardcore MCU fan. It's not that I'm not going to appreciate a good movie, a good story, or an interesting character, but I actually found this film decently enjoyable. You know how in the laws of physics, there's every action has an equal opposite reaction? If you didn't know it from physics and the laws of thermodynamics, you probably know it from Hamilton. In this movie, there is the equal and opposite reaction of everything that I did enjoy, found funny, and was a solid part of this movie. There was something that was cringeworthy or bad or that just like took me out of the story. So the rest of this review will kind of be explaining the on the one hand and then on the other. It's surprisingly funny for me. I thought that maybe with the very serious tone of Black Adam and what I knew about the character and from the promos that any sort of like silly humor wouldn't really work in this movie, but this movie had a very Terminator 2 effect to it, where there is a young boy character and then there is the like indestructible Terminator, Black Adam, Arnold Schwarzenegger, or The Rock character. You have this man, this oddball, this fish out of water who needs to be guided by this young child who then of course kind of has different perspective on the world than like an adult might, and so that then informs who this badass superhero guy acts and what he says and does. And I did really enjoy that, and I did find a lot of the action scenes incredible. I found the choreography and the stunt work, the way that editing choices were made to make Black Adam seem a much more anti-hero type character in this film. And I do think there were some interesting twists and some solid backstories to this character who I hope to see a lot more of in the DCEU or DCU or the DC movies going forward. I also think that The Rock is a pivotal part of why this movie works, because he knows exactly why this character is the way he is and how this character needs to be portrayed to come across correctly on screen. I think he absolutely nails the role. And of course, again, I can't say that I'm like a huge fan of the comics or I know this story and he exemplifies this character trait from this issue because of XYZ, but I just felt invested in the character, and it sort of works that like this character is talked about as the champion of their world and this god type figure and that sort of thing when you're dealing with someone who has the physique and the star magnitude as The Rock. It just, for some reason, it sort of worked. There was a great use of additional characters, and this was one of the first movies that I saw that was like an origin story movie that I think the inclusion of other superheroes actually aided the movie rather than detracted from it. And why I think this was so good is because there was not too much exposition time wasted on these additional characters. Because I would argue this movie intelligently picked heroes, with the exception of, what's her name, Cyclone. All of the other side heroes had Marvel counterparts who have become very popular, who have had their own projects in the last couple years, with Hawkman being very much like Falcon, Dr. Fate having similar powers to Doctor Strange, and then Atom Smasher functioning in a very similar way as Ant-Man and looking pretty much exactly like Deadpool. But I think it worked. Why waste time explaining and introducing new characters when you can just pick characters that have similar powers? Again, I am not here to debate comic book lore. I am not here to debate comic book history. I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg, Doctor Strange or Dr. Fate. You're probably going to let me know in the comments. All I am saying is I think that was an intelligent choice by the filmmakers to not waste exposition time on this gang of misfits. They were essential to the plot of the movie and not just there for future spin-offs. So I appreciated that. However, I will say that there is one storyline throughout the film that honestly kind of kicks off the movie and is the main driver of the plot, and that's why I have a hard time saying this, and partially why so much of the bad of this movie becomes equivalent with so much of the good, is there's a human storyline, a family. The young boy that I was talking about earlier, he and his mom are like main characters in this movie, and I just did not care. I'm sorry, we are dealing with a superhero who is hypothetically more dangerous than Superman because of what he is willing to do and the powers that he has, and he just is not gonna kill this young boy and mother, and he's just gonna take sympathy. Like, I do appreciate the humanity that certain things added to the character, but I just feel like this human storyline detracts from a lot of the superhero stuff that's going on, and they're not as well integrated as I would have liked. There is some crossover that I think, okay, thematically, that was a nice touch, but otherwise, I was just very bored by it. I also think that the major disappointment of this film is the midpoint, not because it was bad, not because it was horrible, but you know when a movie does something that makes you feel like, this movie and these filmmakers think I'm stupid. They think that I'm shocked by this. They think that I'm dumb. They think that I don't know that there's time left in this movie, that I know it's not over, that I know that this and this must happen because I saw this scene in the trailer. A scene like that happened in this movie, and it just disappointed me because a midpoint can be such a strong moment to change the direction of a film, increase it, ramp things up as you head towards the climax of the film. And this movie, I think, in my opinion, it just kind of stops everything. Like if you came to a hard stop at a stop sign, that's what the midpoint feels like. So anyways, that's that. And then my last little tidbit is I just personally don't like a lot of use of slow-mo. It just got to me in this one. There was a little too much. One scene in particular, I think it worked really well. You saw a bunch of different branded objects be exploded, and I think that was just really symbolic of the movie. Like I just appreciated that a lot. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Overall, I had a great time. This movie had great action, good laughs. Overall, were there some cringy parts? Would I pay to go see it in a theater again? No, not really, but I will say that if you are planning to watch this movie, I do think it's worth going to see in theaters because of the sound, the action, and I will say, without a shadow of a doubt, I have seen 2 Marvel movies thus far this year. Neither of them has given a reaction that some of the scenes in this film did. The audience that I saw this film with last week, guys, they were just incredible. Everyone was cheering. There were just so many times where the crowd laughed and went wild, and I love that feeling. After the credits, I'm just saying, there's one scene you're gonna want to stick around for. You don't even wait that long, so hold your pee, hold your popcorn. It's gonna be worth it. If you want to hear me talk more about movies and TV shows, you can click these videos right here to watch more, or you can subscribe by the red button down below, or click my face right here. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. Have a absolutely amazing rest of your day or night, and I will see you in my very next video. Peace out, y'all. One take.